So this is lesson 6-7, drawing angles for 3rd grade everyday math. This is a parent help video to help you out at home so you know what's happening in our classroom. We're going to look at a couple vocabulary words before we get started today. The first vocabulary word we're going to talk about is rotation. And rotation means a motion, so a turning motion. And we're talking about it in the context of turns, as we've been talking about through this unit. So a rotation would be turning. And then vertical, the word vertical means upright or straight up and down. So you often hear vertical together with horizontal, but in this case the word we're discussing is vertical, and that means straight up and down here. There's a few things that we want kids to be able to do in this unit. So the targets of the unit are for kids to be able to use straws to model angles. So the kids will be working with straws today, and essentially we're going to model with straws what we have here on this paper, what we've worked on this paper. And if we take the straw, we can actually overlay it here so that we have hands like a clock, and this hand will stay straight upright, and then this hand will move around. So we want them to be able to model the angles. So for example, if we want to talk about a clockwise, move clockwise to a quarter turn, then they would do this. Move clockwise to a half turn. Okay, from here, move clockwise to a half turn, and they would do this. Move clockwise to 3/4 turn, would come all the way around to here. Move clockwise for a full turn. Okay, remember clockwise is to the right. You go all the way back around here for a full turn. Counterclockwise, it's going to be the same thing except going backwards. Okay, we want them to go counterclockwise a quarter turn from here, counterclockwise a half turn, counterclockwise 3/4 of a turn, and then counterclockwise full turn. We'll end up all the way back around here. So those are the pieces the kids will be working with as far as the turns go. And the angles, we want them to recognize that a quarter turn here, from here to here, is going to be a right angle. Okay, those quarter turns will always make a right angle. We want them to be able to identify the vertex and sides of an angle, okay, which we also talked about a few lessons ago, and we've been talking about right along. Remember, the vertex of the angle is where the two lines or line segments meet. Okay, right here at the corner, and that's called a vertex. And then the sides are going to be the lines or the line segments that connect them. Okay, that's what's going to make the sides. So we want kiddos to be able to identify those things. We also want them to be able to model, to draw, and to name the angles in terms of turns. So in terms of rotations. And we're going to be talking about that today. So, you know, we want them to do a rotation of a quarter turn to the right, a rotation, a half turn clockwise, a rotation 3/4 of a turn to the clockwise, sort of along the lines of that. So those are what we're going to continue to work with today. Kids should be able to also notice that if something is more than a 90-degree angle, okay, so more right here, more than a right angle. Okay, if it's bigger than a right angle, it's going to open up bigger. If something is smaller than a right angle, smaller than a 90-degree angle, it's not going to quite get to that point. So we also want kids to be able to notice if it's bigger or smaller than that angle. So as far as how you can help with this at home, kids, you know, have them use a straw or something that's flexible, a piece of string, or have them use clock cans, an old clock that moves around, or even themselves. We've done this sort of activity, having them stand up and turn their own bodies around in these different turns. So you can also have them do that. Have them draw pictures for you of what they're seeing, and showing you which way the angle goes. And when we show which way the angle goes, we always draw in the case of a 90-degree angle, the square on the inside of the angle. This is the direction it's turning. Okay, in this case, this is the direction it's turning. But maybe Maybe it turned all the way around out this way. Okay, so it depends on whether or not the turn is going clockwise or counterclockwise where they draw the directional piece for the angle. So that's something that you can have them do at home. Just talk about it in your daily lives as you're driving. Okay, you go around a corner, that's a right angle that you just took. Although not necessarily, there are some corners near where we live that aren't right angles. Talk about, was that if it's a sharp turn, was that bigger than a right angle? Was it smaller than a right angle? Okay, maybe it was a wide turn, bigger, smaller. You guys can talk about that in your daily lives, just in things that you're doing every day. Try to use the vocabulary rotation for turning, for a turning motion, and try to use the vocabulary vertical, meaning standing straight up and down, and as opposed to vertical, as opposed to horizontal, sideways. So this is the keyword that we're working with today. So this is lesson 6-7 of 3rd grade everyday math, drawing angles. Thank you.